Welcome back. As we promised, we are to shed more light on the important visit of Eritrean President Siyasi Afwerki, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received his Eritrean counterpart in the Ittihadiyya presidential palace, and they held talks tackling a number of issues of mutual concern, mainly boosting bilateral ties in various domains, and particularly economic cooperation, investment, trade, the flow of Egyptian investments in the Eritrean market, and vice versa, in addition to, of course, the security situation in the Red Sea. Well, to shed more light on the visit, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meligi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. A very good morning to you, Ambassador Meligi.
Good morning to you.
Sir, let me say it this way first. With every visit of an African leader to Egypt, this is to boost our Egyptian-African relations in general, and particularly with our allies, taking into consideration that we are part and parcel of Africa, and Africa is our strategic depth. How do you see the timing of this visit, which I can call easily historic, and the agenda of talks?
Well, first of all, it falls under the Egyptian will to reinforce, ever since President Sisi came into power, its African ties with various countries, especially the one that are of strategic interest to us, such as Eritrea. As you know, I mean, this visit has two aspects. The first of them, which, as you mentioned, is the bilateral relations, is how to boost the economic and commercial and actually all aspect ties between the two countries. And the second of international interest, knowing that we are both facing unrest and instability in the area of the Red Sea. We've heard recently about the Ethiopian wish to consolidate its presence in the Red Sea by having an illegal accord with Somaliland, which represent
the so-called
Somaliland,
yes, sir.
This area.
Yeah. This is a very important topic, or important, let's say, important part of the agenda of talks which took place yesterday, as you've kindly mentioned, mutual relations, and to benefit from our expertise, particularly in the security field. It's a very important matter. Sir, how do you see this as a must? I mean, now cooperation among allies is a must. It's not a luxury anymore. And to face together, or to unite together against the threats or the challenges which are facing all of us, is a must. How do you see, sir, many of the statements which were released right after the talks, that we do share the same visions, and we are going to implement on the grounds all procedures and all measures to guarantee the safety of this very important navigation route for the best interest of all?
Well, as you know, I mean, all countries who are on the Red Sea are faced with big threats in the region. I mean, starting from the threatening of the safety of the navigation in the Red Sea, and from countries who are trying to illegally draft an agreement that cannot be accepted according to the African Charter and African Union decisions in respecting the sovereignty of the countries. I mean, this was one, I think, of the most important aspects. As why it's a must? It's a must because we are the sole guarantor of the safety of the Suez Canal, and anything that threats the Suez Canal and the safety of boats in the canal is a direct threat to our national interest.
Yeah.
That's why we have to undertake all the necessary measures to coordinate with all countries who share with us the same interest, in order to keep the maritime ways safe for all boats around the world. And this is our duty as a guarant of the Suez Canal.
And to echo what you have just said, sir, to say it loud from Cairo, that whether Egypt or all our African allies, including Eritrea this time, are saying it that clear, I mean, the sovereignty of our African states, mainly here Somalia, should not be touched. The situation in Sudan should be contained. And there is no such a way to achieve peace except through negotiations and except with putting the best interest of our countries above any other thing. How do you see those two important topics as being discussed yesterday in the summit talks between President Sisi and his Eritrean counterpart?
Well, actually, both presidents expressed their identical point of view regarding those points, whether we are talking about the integrity and the independence of Somalia, and that we should both respect the international law and the African Union Charter regarding the integrity of its members. And both countries also reaffirmed their concern about the situation in Sudan and how this has to be solved as soon as possible.
Yes.
And both countries have also reaffirmed their adhering to the rules and the principles of the international law. And also the most important thing is to how to boost relations between the two countries in various sectors, especially in investments. I believe that there will be investments, Egyptian investments that will be in Eritrea to have more ties and better relations and better cooperation with this country. And I think that Egypt is once again putting itself as a leading country in the African continent to give an example of how international relations should be under the rule of law. And this, I think, is the most important thing. Egypt is a country that has always been known for respecting the rule of law, whether we are talking about our relations with our...
Respecting the rule of law and maintaining security. And as presidential spokesperson...
This is a national security issue that we cannot bargain with. We have to continue in defeating any power who wants to undermine the security of the areas, whether we are talking about our direct national security or the whole Red Sea national security. And in order to do so, we have to coordinate our efforts with all countries that are on the Red Sea in order to secure the safety of this very important maritime route for all the countries of the world.
And to underscore the vital connection between boosting our economic cooperation and boosting our security relations in the very same time, because we cannot continue with our investments or boosting our trade ties or such stuff without security. Because if we are not able to defend our navigation routes, if we are not able to have security prevailing, how we can boost our economic ties?
Exactly, you are right. I mean, this national security issues have always been under the concern and the eyes of our president in order to alleviate the problems or the economic crisis that are on Egypt because of unforeseen, out of our hands circumstances outside in the world. I mean, starting from the COVID and after that with the Ukrainian-Russian war and all conflict. These aspects that has affected us economically. Egypt has to open new windows to cooperate with the countries with which they have already historical relation with. I mean, sorry, ever since Eritrea got its independence in 1993 from Ethiopia, and the last one has been trying to inflict problems on the other countries of the region. And we have to face those threats in a serious way, in a diplomatic way, in a peaceful way, in order not to undermine our national security issues and our national security concerns.
Yes.
And I think this is the most important issue that we have to understand from the visit, the very important and strategic visit of President Sisi yesterday to Egypt.
And sir, as usual and as in every occasion, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, when he meets with any leader, whether from Africa or from the whole world, he all the time raises the Gaza issue and the Israeli genocide war, which unfortunately claimed the lives of more than 29,000 Palestinians, mostly women and children. And also the statements which were released after the talks said that the two leaders agreed on the importance of reaching a sustainable ceasefire and sustainable flow of aid to the besieged enclave. How do you see also mentioning Gaza and taking this opportunity to reassure our stance regarding our Palestinian cause?
The Egyptian position regarding Gaza have been known since the 7th of October, and of course, far before that. I mean, it's no secret that Egypt has alone gathered over 80% of the aid that could be presented to Gaza. We have managed to enter some of it, and much more are waiting for the Israeli authority to open the Rafah border from its side so we can enter the rest of it. We have been, beside of the position that you mentioned.
Hello? Hello? Okay, it seems that we've lost connection with His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meligi, we were very much delighted to have His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meligi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, as we were covering the visit of Eritrean President Asiasi Afwerki to Egypt, which took place yesterday, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received his Eritrean counterpart at Al Ittihadiyya Palace, and they held the talks tackling a number of issues of mutual concern and discussing ways to boost our mutual ties in various domains. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.